That's what I'm going to do. The whole thing is in there. Like, yell right now.
Luka Dončić dropped 26 points in a blowout win over the Golden State Warriors, yet the biggest story ended up being his heated sideline exchange with head coach JJ Redeck. Jared Vanderbilt even had to step in physically before things escalated further. Redick left Dončić hanging on a high five, and despite the Lakers winning by 28, the tension somehow stole the spotlight from the scoreboard.
JJ Redeck is a little petty. We all know this. And Luka can annoy his coaches. We all know this. The interaction started with Luka not wanting to dap up JJ when he was coming to the bench. And then at the end of it, Luka offered JJ his hand to dap him up, and JJ wouldn't dap up Luka. And this is where folks can say this is hypocritical of me, but I just know I'm right. Luka not dapping up JJ is unfortunate but acceptable. JJ not dapping up Luka is unacceptable. JJ's got to be the adult. Last week, Chris Finch told Ant, "You're getting double teamed. Pass out of it." Then with 30 seconds left, did not pass out of it, hit an impossible three, and then screamed at Chris Finch. That's what I do. That's who I am, whatever it is. I don't even know if that's unfortunate, but I do know that's acceptable. The coach has to constantly, at least in public, be above it. And that's something where I think JJ...
Do you think JJ Redeck really has the authority to manage Luka Dončić the way a championship coach needs to? Or is this relationship already showing cracks that could derail a title run? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And it all starts with the high five that never happened, because that may have been the most revealing moment in the entire sequence.
Done some good things last couple of weeks. Had some nice wins. But the Lakers came determined to stop their losing streak, which ends at...
The game was already over. The Los Angeles Lakers had just blown out the Golden State Warriors by 28 points. Luka Dončić finished with 26 points, 6 rebounds, and 7 assists. By every normal standard, this should have been a comfortable night for the franchise, and a celebration for its biggest star. You win big, shake hands, and move on. That is how nights like this are supposed to end. Instead, Donnie walked toward head coach JJ Redeck and extended his hand for a high five. Redeck left it hanging and kept walking. No glance back, no acknowledgement, no reaction at all. He simply walked past his own superstar after a blowout victory, and the moment a fan-recorded clip from the stands hit social media, it spread everywhere instantly. Because that one silent interaction revealed more about the tension between these two than any carefully worded press conference ever could. But that moment did not come out of nowhere. It was the conclusion of a frustration that had been building throughout the game. With just under 3 minutes left in the first quarter, Santos missed a layup attempt, but Donnie hustled in for the offensive rebound and converted the putback. Good effort, good result. Then came the next possession. Luka forced a heavily contested three over Spencer Dinwiddie, missed badly, and you could already see Redick reacting on the sideline. The body language changed. The frustration started showing. Then came the defensive possession that completely shifted the mood and opened the door for the sideline confrontation that followed.
Lakers are up this big. Doncic only has 6 points. He has 4 assists. Horford tries a three and knocks.
Then came another defensive breakdown from Luka Dončić. He failed to communicate the switch with Jackson Hayes, leaving DeAnthony Melton wide open for three. That was the moment JJ Redeck appeared to hit his limit. Redick immediately turned toward LeBron James and signaled for the substitution. He started walking toward the scorer's table, the universal sign that a player is about to come out of the game. Luka saw it instantly, and he clearly did not like it. With 56 seconds left in the quarter, Donnie told Redick, "Let me finish." Not a suggestion, not a question. A direct statement from a superstar to his head coach in the middle of a live game. Redick, meanwhile, seemed to believe Luka had not earned the right to stay on the floor after the defensive mistakes that had just unfolded. LeBron noticed the tension immediately. As he checked in, He gave Luka a quick pat on the chest, the kind of veteran gesture that usually means, "Relax. Do not make this worse." But Donnie was already frustrated. He avoided engaging with Redick, turned his attention away, and waved him off entirely. That was the point where the exchange crossed into something far more serious. Redick looked directly at Luka and asked, "What is your problem?" 4 words. Direct and confrontational. Right there in the middle of an NBA game. Your head coach challenging you in front of teammates, assistant coaches, cameras, and thousands of fans holding phones in the stands. In that moment, what started as frustration over defensive effort suddenly became a public power struggle.
Like Luka had a little something extra for JJ. I mean, I'm not going to say that Luka wanted to throw the hands or anything like that, but definitely it appears as if he took exception to whatever Redick was saying or trying to say.
Luka Dončić responded by insisting he had not done anything wrong. JJ Redeck answered with a blunt instruction. "Sit down." Luka clearly took offense to it immediately, and the tension escalated fast. That is when Jared Vanderbilt stepped in. Vanderbilt seemed to recognize that the situation was seconds away from turning into something much bigger, so he physically positioned himself between the two and urged Luka to return to the bench. Honestly, that intervention may have been the only thing that prevented the confrontation from becoming far more dramatic than a viral sideline clip. And that is what makes the ending of the night so telling. The game ended. The Los Angeles Lakers won comfortably. Emotion should have cooled off by then, but when Don extended his hand for a post-game high five, Redick walked right past him without acknowledging it. No response, no eye contact, nothing. After everything that had already happened during the game, that silent moment spoke louder than any argument.
Common as a player, as a coach, are these kinds of interactions?
Yeah, I didn't think much of it at the time, to be honest with you. I don't think Luka did either. He and I have a great relationship. I really value our relationship. And I think those things happen, not every game, but they happen very frequently. And, sometimes you have to rehash them with a player or, as a teammate, sometimes it happens player to player. It's a...
JJ Redeck addressed the incident in his pre-game press conference before the next matchup and downplayed the exchange, saying he didn't think much of it in the moment and believed Luka Dončić didn't either. He emphasized the strength of their relationship, framed the moment as typical competitive frustration, and questioned why it had gained so much attention, insisting these situations happen regularly in high-level basketball environments. That explanation opens the door to 2 interpretations. The first is simple: Redick is telling the truth. Heated exchanges between coaches and star players are part of the sport. Emotions spike, decisions get questioned in real time, and most of it disappears into film rooms and locker rooms without ever being seen publicly. From that perspective, the viral clip is just rare transparency, an ordinary moment captured with unusual clarity. The second possibility is more complicated. This is public framing. Coaches are expected to protect relationships, reduce tension, and present internal conflict as routine, even when the underlying dynamic is more fragile than they admit. And given the pattern of this season, that interpretation feels harder to ignore. This wasn't an isolated moment. Earlier in the year, there was the Magic game where Donnie passed up a late open shot with seconds left, immediately deferring to LeBron James. When the possession failed, frustration spilled over less about the result, more about trust and decision-making in key moments. Then came the Kings game, where chaos unfolded across multiple matchups. Russell Westbrook engaged verbally with Donnie, while Luke Kennard stepped in defensively. Separate confrontations involving Maxi Kleber and Malik Monk escalated the tension further, with players constantly intervening just to keep things from boiling over. In the middle of it all, Donnie's reaction wasn't surprise. It was familiarity, the expression of a player who has seen enough volatility this season that nothing really shocks him anymore. And yet, the production remains elite. Since arriving, Donnie has posted around 31 points, 8 assists, and nearly 8 rebounds per game. Those are MVP-level numbers, not the output of a disengaged star. The talent is not in question. The structure around it is. That's where the Redick dynamic becomes central. Redick entered the job without prior head coaching experience and immediately inherited one of the most complex roster constructions in the league. A 40-year-old LeBron James, a ball-dominant superstar in Dhoni, and role players like Austin Reeves trying to find balance in an offense that constantly bends toward its stars. It's a high-wire act with no rehearsal. Defensively, the issues are even clearer. Dhoni has never been known for defensive consistency, and no coaching change has ever fully altered that reality. Redick can demand communication, rotations, and discipline, but he cannot fundamentally rewrite who his best player is. What he can manage is the relationship, and moments like the sideline exchange and the post-game high-five that followed suggest that management is still a work in progress. Jared Vanderbilt becomes one of the most important figures in that equation. His decision to step between coach and star wasn't emotional, it was preventive. A veteran reading the temperature of a situation and removing the oxygen before it could ignite. That kind of intervention is often invisible in box scores, but critical in locker room survival. The Lakers sit in the middle of the Western Conference playoff race, good enough to matter, not stable enough to ignore their own volatility. They can dominate short-handed teams on hot nights like the blowout over the Warriors, but the larger question is what happens when every possession in April actually matters. Because the camera doesn't lie. And right now, it shows a team still negotiating how its two most important figures share authority in real time.